Today I'm going to be discussing my Sunday trading routine. I'm going to show you 3 actionable steps that you can take to improve your trading performance. Now, Sunday for me is arguably the most important day. This is where I get to prepare myself for the week ahead. And I think it's a day where a lot of people can use it to reflect on what's happened in the previous week, as well as what's coming up in the upcoming week. Now, step 1, first thing I do is I open up my strength and weakness spreadsheet and I begin to prepare it and build it for the week ahead. This uses the trends on every currency pair and gives me a scoring system to then identify the changes in the currency. This is one of my most used tools, so I will try to identify if there's any kind of opportunities from this. Then I'll go and take a look at some sentiment data, and this will include things like the commitment of trader reports, and I'll go through a process of looking for significant extremes within the markets. Additionally to this, I will look at seasonal calendars to see if there's any kind of important turning points that I should be expecting from a seasonal perspective, and kind of give me an idea of whether markets are following any kind of seasonal trends at the moment. And all these are sort of practical ways that you can build biases and trade ideas, which I'll come on to an example at the end of the video. Step 2, I check out the news. Here we'll be identifying the sort of key events that could impact the currencies we want to trade. Plus, it gives us an insight into countries' economies, and that could fuel our trade ideas. For instance, if in step 1, for instance, we identified that the pound could be weak, and we have, let's say, like a CPI or an interest rate decision coming up, which is also forecasting pound weakness, then it could help with our trade idea. Step 3, we're going to be creating a watch list. Okay, so this is where we highlight the currency pairs we wish to trade, and then we go to those pairs and essentially look for the conditions to match the bias that we've set out from the previous steps. An example of this actually happened this week. We can look at Aussie CAD, right? And in step 1, I identified a seasonal pattern that occurs this time of year. And notably on the news this week, we had an Australian CPI release, as well as some China data, which was forecast to come in lower. Now, that could compound the Oz weakness that we've been seeing in the near term. Now, step 2, I'll go and identify whether the conditions show a bearish trend in line with my bias. And if it does, then I can add this to my watch list for short opportunities in the next week. And if you look at the chart, we identified a short position on the 30-minute time frame, which I ended up taking a trade on. So that is how I will use a routine on a Sunday to identify a watch list. So essentially, step 1, you want to identify biases in the market. That can be from strength and weakness, seasonal, COT reports, things like that. Step 2, I go take a look at the data, look at the fundamentals. Are they in line with what my expectations are for that currency? And then step 3, I create a watch list for the week ahead, which allows me to look for trades and opportunities. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, leave it a thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, and I'll speak to you in the next video.